across gridirons, diamonds, and courts, in field houses and gyms throughout this great country, countless men and women are devoted to developing the leaders of tomorrow through coaching youth sports. They're the people who are asked to be the grand marshal of the local parade, and they volunteer to sit in the dunking booth at the county fair to help raise money for local organizations. Upon occasion of his 94th birthday, Main Street Stories provided me a chance to go home and capture the story of just one such great man, Coach Bill Tighe.
Coach, happy birthday.
Hello, Coach Tighe. Happy birthday.
Hey, Coach Tighe. Happy birthday. 94? How did you do that?
Happy birthday to Coach Tighe. Happy 94th.
Bill, happy birthday. Glad I was able to be here with you and celebrating a great, great birthday. Happy birthday and many more years to come.
Coach, it's fascinating. I never would have thought 40 years ago, my senior year, that 40 years later, we'd be coming out for your 94th birthday. Just incredible, isn't it, Dewey?
Coach Tighe, happy birthday. I hope you know how much you meant to me. When I was in high school and I lost my mom, I could have gone the other way, but I had you looking out for me. Thanks for the huge difference you made in my life and so many others.
I just want to say, I just want to thank Coach Tighe. All the lessons taught on that field, the effort, the hard work has not only helped me out throughout the years of high school, but when I went to college, I had the drive to actually be, starters right from the beginning, and then I took it right to the job, and I've had a wonderful life from all the team lessons that we learned, and the work ethic and what hard work brings. So thank you, Coach Tighe. Thanks for everything.
I want to let you know I got a tire on here. On the back it says, "Are you kidding me?" A famous saying. Around my household, my father, Steve Sobek, was great friends with Bill Tighe. It's a common household word. I knew more about Billy every day, what was going on with his life. It's just a great thing to have, be part of.
Coach Tighe and I go back a long way. I had him in high school from 1968 to 1971. I graduated college in 75, and I went out to coach in Lexington from 75 to 82. And after that, I went on to Melrose for 3 years, and then I got to coach against him at Melrose and 25 years in Wakefield. A lot of good times, a lot of ribbing each other. He's a great guy. He's like a father to me still. I love him.
Coach, you've been such an inspiration to me as a player and then as a colleague and coach and teacher. You meant so much to me and for so many others.
From the time I was a sophomore and he came in, I remember the first time they had a meeting, I was in junior high, and it was in the science auditorium, and Coach introduced himself to the guys who were going to be playing. And I remember he said, "I'm a no-nonsense guy." He talked about his star quarterback who did something wrong, I can't remember what, and he benched him Thanksgiving game his senior year. He said, "You stepped out of line, you don't play." So I knew you do not step out of line on Coach Tighe's team. Don't even think about it. Coach taught me, win or lose, always be a sportsman. And I've carried that throughout my life. My whole life I've carried that through. Wherever I've played or whatever I've done, always be a good sportsman. That's the most important thing.
I can't thank you enough. Playing for you, being your captain, being able to coach with you, you taught me life lessons, and without a doubt, as I made it through life and business, I always had that backbone of that Iwo Jima veteran and the greatest football coach in Massachusetts history behind us. Thank you, Coach.
Coach Tighe retired in 2010 at the age of 86. Shortly before his retirement, ESPN declared him to be the oldest high school football coach in America. While I was there for Coach's 94th birthday, we managed to get a bunch of former players, coaches, and friends together to reminisce. Here's what Chuck Shaw, former player and member of Coach's coaching staff at Lexington High School, had to say.
Everyone knows Coach. I don't want the red carpet. I don't want the to-do. And we said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's just going to be small and intimate halftime. We had probably 800 alumni. There were 3,500 people in the stands. And in 10 days, Jay and I pulled off a halftime ceremony that to see him tearing up was the highlight for me.
Today is a bittersweet day here in Lexington. As you can see, the field is full of numerous people, including myself. As a group, we span over 36 years and all have three things in common. We're all alumni of Lexington High School. We played football here at Lexington. And most of all, we've played for one of the greatest football coaches of all time, Bill Tighe. Back in the fall of 1975, one of the most promising coaches in high school football arrived here in Lexington. When you hear the phrase Lexington football, there are many things that come to mind, from the players, the rivalries, the records, the championships. And the foremost thought on everyone's mind is Bill Tighe. Coach Tighe is Lexington football. Today we're here to honor Coach Tighe. For today, he's coaching his final game as head coach after 36 remarkable seasons for the Lexington Minutemen. To everyone he's come in contact with, Coach Tighe is not just a football coach. He's a father figure whose ultimate goal has not only been to make his players better athletes on the field, but better students in the classroom, and mold them into prosperous young men and get them ready for real life, well after their high school days. His number one quote to us has always been, student first, athlete second. I've heard him say that countless of times throughout the years. Through his coaching, he's taught us more than just football. He's taught us life skills. I think of the words that he's regularly used during practice and pregame press talks, words like character, commitment, desire, dedication, discipline, leadership, preparation, sacrifice, winning, and most of all, teamwork. These are all traits that we have used no matter what field of business we are in. As we reminisce here today, we think what the coach's ultimate goal was. He was teaching us life skills in a different way other than in the classroom. He used the gridiron to accomplish it. These are all skills we will continue to use every day for the rest of our lives. Coach Tighe grew up in Ashland and was a three-sport standout, playing football, basketball, and baseball in high school. After graduation in 1942, he served the United States Army Air Corps in World War II from 1943 to 1946 as a P-38 crew chief, serving in New Guinea, the Philippines, Okinawa, and Korea. When Coach came home, he continued his education at Boston University, where he was a two-sport Hall of Fame athlete in football and baseball. Coach was the starting third baseman as a sophomore on the baseball team and was named captain in his senior year. Although he played third base on occasion, he was called on to pitch. He went 3-0 as a pitcher and actually threw a no-hitter. In football, he created even more of an impact where halfway through the season of his junior year, he became the starting quarterback for the Terriers. And as a starter, Coach also received honorable mention in the Boston University's post-war All-Star Grid in the 1964 and was inducted into the BU Hall of Fame in 1994. Coach Tighe also is selected one of BU's top 15 players, best of BU. After graduating BU, Coach spent some time in the Vermont St. Johnsbury professional baseball team in the Northern Leagues. Mr. Tighe got offers to play football for the New York Yankees, the short-lived All-America Football Conference, and in baseball for the Philadelphia Phillies. But the promises of financial security in professional sports were not attractive as they are today, so Coach took up a career in teaching, coaching football, and starting a family. Coach and his wife, Mary, of 57 years, had 6 children together. Unfortunately, Coach lost his wife as well as 2 of his young sons, Billy and Michael. We know they're here with us in spirit today, watching over this great festivity. Coach also has 9 grandchildren and 4 great children that are here with us today, as well as her daughters Sharon Adamo, her husband Frank, Maureen Martins, her husband Remy. We're also joined by Coach's sons Kevin and his wife Elaine, Stephen and his wife Gina. We all have mentors in life, and it was Coach's mentors that led him to coaching, so we feel it is important that we recognize Coach Tighe's mentors other than his family. His high school coach, Harold Grump Walker, and his college coach, Buff Donnelly. They were a big inspiration to Coach as a young adult, just as Coach Tighe is for many of us here today, and will continue to be for many years to come. Coach Tighe's career stats span over 62 years, with 53 years as a head coach. He's coached in 514 games in 3 different high schools in Massachusetts. Coached 7 seasons at Wakefield High, where his record of 44, 14, and 2. And after winning the championship in 1962, Coach Tighe and his Wakefield Warriors were met by President John F. Kennedy, and they presented him an autographed team ball, and President Kennedy reciprocated and presented Coach Tighe with an autographed ball that is still on display at Wakefield High. Coach then moved over to Malden in 1964, where he coached for 9 seasons, and his record there was 39, 37, and 2, and won 2 Greater Boston League championships. As I stated earlier, in 1975, Coach arrived in Lexington, where he's been ever since, and he's boasted a record of 185, 181, and 9, but after today it'll be 186. With 3 championship seasons and a Super Bowl berth in 1984. Coach Tighe's already inducted into several Hall of Fames, including the Lexington High School Athletic Hall of Fame as a coach, and for his 1980 and 1984 football teams, the Wakefield Hall of Fame as a coach, Malden High as a coach, Boston University as a student athlete in baseball and football. He's also inducted into the Massachusetts Football Coaches Athletic Hall of Fame, as well as the National Federation of Interscholastic Coaches in the United States. Just last year, he was deemed the oldest coach in America. Although he may be 86, he's young, healthy, strong, full of heart, full of desire. With that, let's please give Coach Tighe the thank you he so-called deserves for his 36 years as our head coach and his lifetime achievements.
It was tough to retire. I loved everybody that played the game. And in my case, it was a pleasure to coach all those kids. It was great.
One of the things that I noted about Bill Tighe as a coach, he knew who his players were, and he didn't make them out to be more than what they had the capability of doing when they played the game. And he applied that thought here at Lexington. So he took guys and taught them how to tackle, how to block, and play within themselves and not try to be somebody that they weren't. And I think that proved to be his philosophy until he retired.
From my experience, it was just going from the outhouse to the penthouse, because it was just an incredible change. You know, we were 1-9 my junior year. We had some really good athletes, but we didn't know how to win. We didn't really know how to play the game. And then Coach came along, and you know, the big saying was we had to learn how to hit. And I can remember, you know, I was a lineman, and I somehow ended up with a helmet. The only helmet that fit me had a quarterback's face guard. It was just a single one. And for 3 weeks, he wouldn't let me get another face guard until I could prove to him that I could hit. So it was really just an incredible change.
I didn't actually play for him. I was on the track team, but one of the things we did with the captains, when he was in his office there, we used to study in his office while he was out doing his phys ed and doing the things that he was doing. He used to lend his office to us to study. And one of the things he always said was to hit the books, make sure you did well with the books, and he'd look over his shoulder and make sure he was studying, even though I wasn't one of his players. I was on the track team, but he kept an eye on us and inspired me to go on to college.
You know, I first experienced Coach as a student in gym class where those round balls were rolling around, soccer. But you also we were getting a running play-by-play from the teacher of everything that's going on in that soccer game. I was like, this is a lot of fun. Now, this guy's more than a football coach. You know, that was my first impression of him. And then, of course, having him around, he was always, even though I never played for him, he always had an interest of what I was doing with the little journalism that I was doing through the Minuteman or whatever. And my association here at Lexington High School and knowing Bill Tighe, it lent instant credibility for whatever I was doing in many different ways. And I couldn't be more grateful.
We had a lot of fun with Coach because he engaged with everybody. We would crack up when the guys would do something wrong because I'm going to send you over there with the cheerleaders if you don't get out there and do that right. Get back out there. So, we would have fun with that, and obviously, the guys that we cheered for, our teammates, we were all one big family. He set us up for success. He never let you stop believing in yourself, which was amazing. You could have a down day and he'd see you in the hall and say, "What's going on with you?" So he was just a great guy to be around, and supported all the team members, whether you were playing or not. I think they aspired to do better because he was an inspiration in their lives. He never, like I said, he never let them, never felt like you were being let down, and if you didn't do something right, he would, get after you. You got to get out there. You got to try again. You got to do it right. And, we're going to just keep repeating it until we do it right. But around the dinner table, which I'm sure many of these guys, probably had dinner tables similar to ours, is you sat around as a family and you razzed each other about what went on the field, and some of Coach Tighe's sayings. I mean, I couldn't repeat them all, but everybody knows them. So my brothers probably know them better than I do, but, you got to be kidding me. Was one of the famous ones.
You might have thought, as the cheerleaders, Coach Tighe loved you girls. In the locker room, his famous saying was, "Get that perfume smell out of your nose." From August to Thanksgiving, you belong to me. Forget the perfume smell. I remember just up and down the sideline watching this maniac yelling, screaming, "You get out of the fog." He missed this. He'd be running up and down the field. He'd be chasing kids across the field if they missed a block. And I used to go home, and it came the decision time. Do I go to Minuteman? Do I not go to Minuteman? At that point, my brother Jim had come back from Minuteman and went to Lexington High. And I said, "I'm going to Lexington High. I want to play football for this guy."
He was a tough coach, a lot of Tigheisms. We called them Tigheisms. And the worst position, I think, for to be a player for Bill was quarterback, because you were the lightning rod. Every play was critical, like, "Come out of the fog. You shouldn't have thrown the ball. What'd you throw that ball for?"
The reason I've been a coach, and I've been a coach for 25 years and coached world-class tennis players. A lot of what I took into coaching was what I took from him, and I didn't realize it because I thought, this guy hated me. He was like, "Evans, you kidding me? Like, you're standing up looking like a traffic cop out there." And I'm in the middle of the woods in Maine at the school, Bridgeton Academy, with like a one-year PG, and the phone rings, and they're like, "You got a call in the payphone in the hallway." And it is some lieutenant who is a recruiter from West Point telling me that Coach Tighe had told them that I was the sleeper of the East, and people didn't know that I had skipped a grade and I was young. I was younger than most of the juniors on the team. And here was this person that I believe despised me, who went out of his way. And so I'm now a year and a half out of Lexington High School, yet he hasn't forgotten about me. He knows that I'm still out there in limbo and wanting to play, and he's sowing the seeds which allow me to go to West Point.
He knew people at every college all across the country, and if you couldn't get into college, you went to Coach Tighe, he'd find you a college where all you had to do was take a blood test. And then if you could get into a college, he'd get you at a better college. If you could get into college and you couldn't get money, he'd find you money. And he's just an incredible resource.
I had a school for every kid that wanted to play football. I've got so many stories about kids that I've sent all over the country. And I had a file of over 300 schools that I could call and make an arrangement for a particular kid.
Been mentioned before that he always mentioned to the kids that there's always a school out there for you, no matter where it is. We'll find it so that you want to play and go to school. We'll make arrangements for you to do that.
It all worked out well. If any kid wanted to go to school, I'd make sure I'd try to get him into school.
You know, you learn in football, but he was a comedian, like Don Rickles, and it was hilarious when it was somebody else until it got to your turn. Scary. How many tokens did he charge you for that ride?
The night before the game, he would always say, "Make sure you guys check your insurance. Make sure you're covered because, you know, this is going to be one big game."
The famous one was when we missed the block and we came back to the huddle, and we would try to make our case why we missed the block, and you should be a lawyer.
Now, one of the best things I thought I ever did was if we lost a game, in particular the Thanksgiving game, my favorite saying was there were 800 million Chinese that don't even know we played today. And they don't even know I'm the coach. Go home and have a good time for yourself.
He would sit on the sidelines, and he would look over to you, and he'd say, whoever it was, I'll say, Shaw, where are you? And I'd be looking at one of the cheerleaders. Fuck, you want to be a cheerleader too? Let your helmet down and get a pom-pom. We got a game going on here.
There's another classic, too. Someone would miss the block and be substituted, and he'd come back off on the sideline and he'd come right to Bill. You didn't go anywhere else. You had to go to him. So he said, you missed that block. And the kids would say, no, I didn't. I made the block. Oh, baloney. Get a box of popcorn and a lollipop. Why don't you watch the game?
Double sessions. It's 4 days in. We got our equipment. We're learning the blocking, the tackling. He comes flying through on the defensive side, and Coach Porter was there. And you guys aren't hitting. I'm over here. I can't hear. The only thing I hear is Coach Lepresti eating his peanut brittle on the sideline. We could go on all night with the Tighisms.
The reason that I wanted Bill to be over here as a coach because my two oldest boys, the twins, Charles and Chris, were coming up from the 9th grade going into the high school at that year. Bill, I figured, could teach them what they needed to know later on in life beside high school football, and he certainly taught them well.
Thank you, one and all. I can't see that well, I can't hear that well. I can't talk that well, I can't walk that well, but I feel pretty good.
God bless, Coach.
Coach Tighe is a veteran of World War II. One of the greatest generals of that war, Douglas MacArthur, once said about athletics, "Upon the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds which upon other fields on other days will bear the fruits of victory." Coach Tighe is someone who has lived that for his entire life. He is all about coaching the individual first and the player second. And considering what a successful coach he was of young men, I think I was really fortunate to have him part of my life.
All right, Dewey, I wanted to say I'm old. I'm old in the dirt.